Hey guys, Mike here. So boy, what a weird day in the market. And we lived through 2020, but I can say this is one of the weirdest days with everything that was happening. And what am I talking about? First, of course, you had Roaring Kitty come out Sunday and basically he has just millions of shares and also hundreds of thousands worth of call options, which of course, what happens today, meme stock mania and pre-market that is, just absolutely goes crazy. GameStop's up over 100%, but it was the same thing that happens each time here where retail starts chasing at 9:30 and they get completely dumped on, right? Like a tidal wave. So hopefully you will get your pop tomorrow again, usually a 2-day thing, and you'll be able to get out and you'll be able to use somebody else's exit liquidity or something on that. That happened. But then you're sitting there with this glitch in the New York Stock Exchange where you got Berkshire Hathaway opening up at 180 bucks and some other mega caps down 99%. I don't know about you, I put a limit order in just in case, which mine did not get filled. Would have been nice. I saw people posting where theirs did get filled. I'm assuming if that's the case, they're going to get clawed back, I assume, because that would be crazy, but figure what the heck, why not? So that was going on, and then you had economic data came out, which of course was bad for the economy. So what happened to yields? 10-year yields dropped, right? The 10-year yield goes, woof, see you later. Now, what does IWM and Kathy Woods type stocks do when that happens? Showed you hundreds of times, right? They pop, they have a great day. And in pre-market, it was looking good. IWM was leading the way, right? And then 9:30 hit, and IWM said, see you later. And it went right down with the yields, which is just nuts, which I'm going to show you, because that's usually, and I don't know if that's a sign of something or it's just a one-day thing. And I didn't see anything that would have caused it to go down with the yields. Because eventually you will, at some point in time, start to see that. Where no matter what the yield is doing, the stocks are still going down, right? You're gonna see that eventually. But we'll get into all that fun stuff. Now, we'll actually talk about Kathy Woods in this video because I saw this thread come across Twitter, and I just found it interesting, and I want to get your input on it stuff. But, as far as the news is concerned, if you're wondering, you had ISM, manufacturing PMI. Again, it's only 30% of the economy, but again, still in contraction. And so, hot mess. And of course, yields say, great, because it drops because, the Fed's going to have to cut. Not only does it drop, it goes down over 2%, which is a big drop for the yields, right? And then, of course, we throw up IWM over this, and pre-market, it's doing what it's supposed to do. It's up over, I think, 1.5%. And then 9:30 on the dot hits, and it says, see you later, buddy. Then yields start to kind of curve back up. IWM comes up with the yields. Very strange. Qs and S&P with a last hour and a half rally end up green after being red. As you can see now, IWM below the 2023 lows. That looks like some kind of weird head and shoulders almost trying to form out right there on the lower time frames. But again, this one right here is man, it's a mess really. I'm gonna put a trend line here as resistance now because it seems like we're getting up in this area. Now we got 3 hits on this right here we rejected off of. And so now the 2023 high will be resistance once again. That trend line is going to be resistance right there. And so we're going to get to see if yields start to cool off, does IWM actually start to rebound, right? So that's what we got to look at. Now, looking at NVIDIA, and what's it doing? Staying right here in this little area right here, consolidating, had a nice day today. So we can see, and we'll go to the hourly right here. So again, nice pop up after it did what? Retested where it had that earnings gap up to. And so this right here did not set all-time high today or anything like that, but it was on fire. And I want you to understand something. I didn't cover this yet, but I read a great article on this, and this is true. There's plenty of reasons the video can keep going. One, because of the stock split, but here's the other one I told members about right here. You can see one other thing that could drive NVIDIA even higher after it split is the fact that it could be added to the Dow Jones. And so if that happens, all those ETFs, which correlate to the Dow Jones, will have to have NVIDIA obviously put in it. And how you do that is you buy shares, right? And so when you look at it, there was Amazon, for example, right, was added to the Dow Jones February 2024. You had Salesforce, Honeywell. And so when that happens, it just gives another area where people come in. It just gives even more buying pressure to the stock to come in. And normally you're not getting on the Dow when you're $1,000. This is what Chipotle is doing, a 50 for 1, I believe, because they're going to be another one that could be added to the Dow if they're already, because they're not on that. So you can see Amazon right here, big gap up on earnings. Then we get added to the Dow right there, and you can see it ran up at least was another 10% right there after getting added. And I went back and watched, looked at Salesforce. Same thing happened to it. Same thing happened to the other one. This is normally what happens. Speaking of Amazon, by the way. Just wanted you to keep that in mind when it comes to NVIDIA. This one has a lot of confluence where it's at right now, and prime for a bounce, and if not, prime for a very or even more bigger fall, really, because you have a demand area right here, you have the 100 moving average right there, as well as at the bottom of that channel right there, and then when you pull up the fibs right here from when it went down right here and came back up, you're setting in a discount window, right? So it's setting there, hitting the golden pocket, hitting 0.70 actually, the fib, and starting to bounce. So if it doesn't bounce here, I'll be surprised. Look for the 50 moving average to be resistance around 184. But if it falls on this one, yeah, you can definitely expect some more downside in Amazon. So a lot of confluence there, which is what I like to look for. Now Shopify, again, you guys always ask about this one, so I just put it in here. Trying to hold that trend line, still has basically hardly any momentum right now going into it. Really kind of a tight range, really. You can see right there on the chart right there. But again, going to, a daily and stuff, the good thing is it hasn't fallen through there yet. You need your RSI above that 50 to really start seeing momentum coming in this right here. You have a gap above, and a lot of people, like I said, they're looking to see if that gap below gets filled, okay? Because if it breaks that trend line right there, most likely, don't be surprised if you start heading down towards like 49, because there'll be a lot of selling pressure coming into it, and fill that gap, and then maybe get a bounce from there. That's really what you're going to look at. But another thing, which I found out there when I was looking at this, one thing that is not bullish at all is what's going on with the moving averages right now. As you can see, the 50 is crossing down over the 200. It hasn't crossed. They're touching right now. So that is one of those death crosses, right? And when you look, you can see that's not a true one. That right there touched it, and then rounded back up, so it took off. But when you look at this thing, you don't get many of them on Shopify here. But when he did have it, I mean, the last time he had it was 2022, and it was a major move down, so I'm not expecting that. But this 50 needs to curl back up. It's never bullish to get the 50 crossing the 200. It's bad enough when it crosses the 100 moving average. You can see when it did that, Shopify started selling off even more. So this is something just to be aware of. Has not happened yet, just touching. And Disney's another one with a lot of confluence here, where it's coming into an area which has a lot of interest in it, has been support many times, has been resistance, as you can see right here, coming down, hitting the 50 Fibonacci level right there, and it started to bounce. Okay, so we shouldn't be very surprised about that, and it's had a decent sell-off to it. So it needs to bounce right here. You pull your moving averages up, not the hottest thing in the world going on here with the 50 curling over like it is for the shorter term, but you also have the 200 right below this area. And so if it breaks through there, and look for it to get a bounce off that 200. But again, this is another one that's kind of like Shopify, where this 50 needs to start turning back up. What needs to happen instead of coming back down. There's been a lot of selling pressure on Disney for sure. So watch that one with all the confluence. Now, when you pull up the stochastic and the RSI on this one, you can see stochastic looks good. It's up there, up there at the top where it needs to be. Usually that's when you start getting some pretty big moves. But if it just turns right back over, you forget about it. Weekly, down at the bottom, needs to look like it's trying to get that bullish cross going on, try to turn up, but you need it back over 20 at least. Try to confirm that. Again, the RSI needs to be over 50. So just another one of those names that needs momentum that's just completely lost the momentum. Now, that leads me into this little thread right here, and I'll get your input on this. But, I mean, Kathy Woods, look, I know she had Tesla, and that was all good and everything, but I've never seen somebody who literally has an entire team behind them do what she does. Like, it's supposed to be about innovation. That's what attracted everybody to them. But the stuff she sells versus the stuff she buys is crazy. I mean, you look at this right here. The ETF's down almost 72%. February 2021 was the high. You see how far Teledax and PacBio and Unity and Verb and Zoom and Roku. Again, a lot of these, I don't know what's so innovative about these at all. But when you look at it, I mean, obviously you can tell how far they're down. That's why the ETF, even after this massive run up in the market and a lot of stocks, this thing ain't hardly moved. And then when she sells stuff, I don't understand it. Like, I don't know if she sold all NVIDIA here. They're saying she sold all of it. I know she sold a huge chunk of it. I know that for sure. But it's like, why? If there's anything that's innovative, it's NVIDIA, right? I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. Why are you putting it in Roku? What is innovative about that? It doesn't make any sense to me. You got DocuSign, all of the stuff. Then you come down. I mean, I think she still has a price target of $1,500 on Zoom. I mean, that thing had its heyday in 2020, right? And then there's DNA. I talked about these kind of stocks forever. $9.99 average. It's sitting at 66 cents. But then she'll just keep adding to them and adding to them. You see Path here, right? She bought 450,000 shares the other day when it plummeted. I think the thing is still going down. But it's like, what? I don't. What's innovative about this stuff? It just makes no sense to me. And I'm just curious, are like you still like putting money in ARK? I'm curious why, right? I mean, because I used to listen to them, and I always said my biggest complaint was they just got these crazy price targets, and what they say is innovative. The stuff they're saying is innovative. I agree with. Yes, it should be innovative, but not in this country because the government won't allow it to be innovative, right? Because where do doctors and hospitals make their money? Hip replacements, knee replacements, back surgeries. If they're doing this stuff she's talking about, which we should have done, but it is what it is, stem cell therapies and all this other stuff that should replace surgeries, that's a lot of money going away, right? That's the reason why other countries are way ahead of us on this stuff. And so the stuff she talks about, when this is going to $1 million and this is doing this, and then she'll sell NVIDIA and buy some just hunk of garbage company that's not innovative at all. And I'm not saying some of these companies should not be innovative, but she just does not take into context what country she's in and how the government actually works with regulations and stuff and how they're bought off. Like, it's just insane to me. And so I'm just curious, like, I mean, I don't know, I'm just wondering because, I mean, trust me, I look at ARK and I was like, well, it's got to get a bounce soon, right? And start moving up. I mean, we've moved up on so many hundreds and hundreds of other stocks and ETFs. It's got to come at some point in time, but no, it just does not happen. And I don't know how you're still plowing into Zoom and all these other ones, but let me know what you think. Maybe I'm missing something, So, that bleeds us into earnings and hardly anything's going on, right? Bath and Body Works, which is usually highly short, as you know. And then CrowdStrike is going to be the big one to report. A lot of these companies have been struggling on earnings. We'll see how this one does. And then you'll have JOLTS job reports after the market opens at 10 a.m. Factory orders, which, of course, have been a hot mess. And so we'll see if we come up with some surprise data, whatever it is. And we'll see. What really to look for in the 10-year, though, is when bad news for the economy, right, becomes bad news for the market. That's what we're really kind of looking at, right? So the 10-year reacted how it should have reacted this morning. It's just small caps and Cathy Wood's type stocks, high beta stuff, did not react. It did in pre-market and then just fell off a cliff. Like all of them did. And so, that's where we got to be, see what's going on and stuff. And again, we'll see if the meme craze continues because when it starts, again, it's like it did, a couple weeks ago, months ago, whatever it was, you see crypto start to rally and all these other stocks that look dead, they just start to go, right? And so these highly short stocks start to get squeezed. Now let's see if this is going to start another trend into the meme stock mania and stuff. We'll see if he tweets something out tonight and everything like that. But again, it's just one of those things where we're in summer. You're still seeing low volume, massive swings sometimes. You saw the rally at the end today. You saw the drop, right? I think it was around 10.25-ish or whatever it was. To start heading down. You think it's done dropping, and it drops even more. So, it's just one of those kind of things. And another thing that was weird is HYG was red, the VIX was green, the S&P and Qs were green. It was a weird day. It just really was. Like maybe it was something going on Wall Street, not just Berkshire Hathaway and those other stocks, but it was just a weird day today. So we'll see if maybe tomorrow is a little more normalized, okay? So please hit that like and subscribe button on your way out, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for another fun one.